and welcome to another episode of PC Politics, Real, Raw, Relevant. I'm your host, Phyllis Coley. Today, we are going to talk about school reopening, which is very relevant right now. Everywhere you look, we're talking about should the schools reopen, should they not? So we're going to talk about today what's happening with Durham Public Schools. Joining me now is the Superintendent of Durham Public Schools, Dr. Pascal Mubenga. Hi.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Coley.
Yes. So let me ask you, first of all, when will schools be opening?
So school will open for all traditional schools August 17th. But we have 4 schools, what we call small high schools. They're going to open on August 7th. Those
That's
are
soon.
very soon.
Yes, okay.
That's the early college at NCCU,
Okay.
Hillside New Tech, City of Medicine, and Middle College at Durham Tech.
And will they be in person or virtual?
No, they're all going to be virtual.
So everything will be virtual?
Everything virtual for the first 9 weeks.
For the first 9 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, so, you went virtual because you had to last March. Tell us about, what did you learn during that period?
I think COVID caught everybody by surprise.
Yes.
Nobody was ready. And I think we're pretty much struggling, trying to put pieces together, printing materials and things of that nature. And we did not have enough computers to be able to give to students. And when we're talking about equity being really a focus for Durham Public Schools, we did not feel comfortable to send devices home without having enough for everyone. So that's the reason why we're printing materials for students. But moving forward, for this academic year,
Yes.
we are well prepared.
Okay, so let's talk about that preparation. So you mentioned not some kids don't have computers, and some may not have internet access or strong enough internet access. What are you doing about that?
So thank you for the question. We are well prepared, as I said earlier. Our Board of Education, a few months ago, they were able to approve our request of buying 20,000 more Chromebooks. So which means we have enough for every student. Our schools, they studied the process already of delivering those devices.
Okay.
So we hope probably in a few weeks, every student should be able to have a device. And then we also have students, even though they have the device, but they don't have internet access.
Yes.
So we buying those hotspot, and we have a formula, criteria that we're gonna use to be able to deliver those hotspot as well. So we don't have any excuses.
Okay, so how would, if my child didn't have access to a Chromebook, how would I get it?
We've been sending messages at home. Schools, they've been sending messages, and they have different schedules where students can report to school and be able to pick them up.
Okay, so they can come and get them, then there's an insurance. Does this belong to the student, or will they have to turn them back in eventually?
They're gonna turn them back in at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
It belongs
now-
to the school.
Yes, okay, so now when, how do the kids even log in to start with the virtual classes?
I think there's going to be some kind of orientation. That's the reason why we're asking students to come on campus. Our teachers and our staff, they're going to spend a few minutes with them to show them how to log in, how to get to our platform. Because we get a platform that every student will be going to in order to access their classes.
Okay, so let's talk about that platform. Is there a name for it?
Yes, there's a name, definitely. We call it Canvas.
Canvas,
Canvas,
okay.
and I think pretty much most districts across the state, they use Canvas.
Okay.
Last year, there were a few schools that were using Canvas, and everybody was doing pretty much their own thing.
Yes.
But now, district-wide, everybody's going to use Canvas. Our
Wonderful.
teachers been trained, and we're going to do a quick orientation with our students. And we've been working on some videos to be able to share with our students as well as our parents how to have access and how to feel comfortable accessing Canvas.
If there's someone that's watching now that has not had an opportunity to get that information, is it available on the Durham Public School website?
Yes, they need to go to our website. Everything's out there.
Okay, and we have that information up right there so that people can just go to that site and they can get information. If there's someone new to the district, how do they get involved? How do they get signed up?
I think the best thing, anyone can go to Google and check for Durham Public Schools, and which is www.dpsnc.net. From that point, they should be able to access most information about the DPS.
Are all teachers trained now on how to instruct virtually?
So we were able to work with our teachers prior to summer break. They were able to, we spent about a week of training. In addition to that, we're able to come up with some modules.
Okay.
We're able to give to teachers to be able to work on their own during the summertime. When they come back, usually teacher will be back a week before students. We're gonna spend the entire week just training our teachers so they can feel comfortable.
Will the teachers be in the classroom, or will they be training from their home or wherever they are?
It's going to be a virtual training as well.
Okay. Now, during this first 9 weeks, what are you doing to prepare for the rest of the school year?
We are very mindful that our students learn better when they're in the building, brick and mortar. So we're using the first 9 weeks to be able to do this virtual learning as we are monitoring different metrics about COVID and other factors as well. We came up with a plan B because governor asked school district to produce 3 plans, plan A, B, C. Plan A was pretty much simple. All students go back in the building with a little bit social distancing. And plan B, what DPS we came up with was our pre-K all the way to 8th grade, they will be on campus.
Okay.
Then high school students, they'll be at home. So we really wanted to use high school facilities so we can spread out our students.
Yeah.
So now that we're going for plan C for the first 9 weeks, in the back of our mind, we're still working with a plan B. If numbers improve, then we'll be back in the building implementing our plan B.
And so what you're saying is that the high schools, which are typically larger buildings, then you would divide up some of the K through 8
Middle school students will spread out too.
will spread out there, so that allows for social distancing.
That's correct.
Oh, that sounds like a wonderful plan.
I was really pleased with the plan, but unfortunately, as you're looking at these COVID numbers, we cannot help it.
Yeah.
They're just being virtual for now.
Yes. Durham Public Schools was already in the process of starting a virtual academy. Let's talk a little bit about that, and now it's being fast-tracked.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. Thank you for asking that particular question. Our virtual academy, which we call Ignite Academy, I think as we are on plan C, everybody is online, learning virtually. When we're going to get to the point where students are going to go back on campus, and the Ignite Online, which is our virtual academy, we're going to stay in function. It's not a school yet, we call it a program, but we're expecting for school year 2021-2022, that's going to become a school. And we are really excited about it because there's going to be a lot of flexibility. There are some families that they want their kids to be at home and have those flexibility. That's pretty much what we're really pushing. And we're expecting to have a lot of families that did not consider EPS before, they will come forward.
Oh, that is wonderful. Now, you have the learning, the classroom part. What are kids doing for lunch? They got breakfast at school? Let's just talk about the nutrient part first.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm going to tie it up with, the question you wanted to ask, how remote learning is going to look like.
Yes.
Then we're going to talk about the nutrition part as well. So pretty much we have a synchronized learning environment where students, first thing in the morning, when they take shower, whatever they do, take breakfast, they have to log in. Once they log in, they're going to be able to have access to a teacher.
Okay.
And most of the time, I'll give an example probably for elementary school, they're going to log in for a good 45 minutes. They're going to have instruction with that particular teacher. Then they're going to have about 15-minute break.
Okay.
Then they're going to rotate to go to, if it was a self-contained, then they'll go back to the same teacher. But if it was about departments, then they'll go to another teacher.
Okay.
For another 45 minutes, then they take another break. Then after that, most likely, probably it's going to be lunchtime. So they're going to have about an hour and a half to have lunch. Then they're going to do that rotation again. So it's really synchronized. Then in the afternoon, there are times that they're going to have synchronized where they're going to be on their own and doing their work. And while teachers are students are working on their own, teachers are going to have flexibility because there are going to be some students that's going to struggle, and teachers are going to have opportunity to work with those small groups of 4 students or 5, the same way we did in a brick and mortar.
Yes.
They can do that as well with a small group, supporting and helping those students.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Okay, so now you mentioned lunch. There's a lunch period.
There's a lunch
But
period.
if there's no lunch available.
Let me highlight that. There is a lunch period, but I think we're still working with our operation departments.
Okay.
Either it's going to be pretty much maybe once or twice or maybe 3 times a week, where students can go on campus or other location site that we're going to have to pick up the food for the week.
Okay.
And then when they're going to have their free time for lunch, they should be able to enjoy the meal that the school was able to provide.
Wonderful. How do they get their books, or is everything online as well?
We got books, pretty much everything is online, but we also have printed materials that we're going to be able, as students will go picking up the materials or devices on campus, they should be able to pick up those materials as well.
Okay, now suppose I don't need or my child doesn't need a laptop. Would we still schedule them to go on campus for this instructional material?
It depends. If you don't need a laptop, you may say, okay, I just need to go to get that orientation.
Okay.
I probably need to go meet my teacher. I probably need to go and pick up some other materials as well. Or maybe somebody just to be able to show me how to log in with Canvas and things of that nature. So it depends.
Will all of this be with masks, with social distancing when they go to the schools?
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. You have to have your face covering and all that kind of stuff. Social distancing, and we're gonna respect all that.
Is the parent required to stay with the student when they go for this, to pick up their laptop and the instructions?
I think since we're not providing transportation, I'll say yes, because you have to drop off your child for whatever few minutes to be able to pick up materials, then you should be able to take your child back. So you are required to stay with your child.
With the virtual learning, will this require any layoffs of employees?
I don't think so. We are not at that point. I think we're working with, we're waiting for guidance from our state legislatures as far our bus drivers are concerned, our cafeteria workers are concerned, and all that kind of stuff. So when we had COVID around March, this school district were given flexibility to be able to employ their bus drivers and cafeteria workers and custodians in different capacity. We hope that we're going to have that waiver as well as we're moving forward, so that we'll keep our employees really employed.
Okay.
So that's our hope, and we're waiting for that guidance from the State Board of Education.
Do you have a date determined by which you will decide what's going to happen for the second 9 weeks?
I don't have a date, but I have an idea. So let's say when school start, we got 9 weeks. We hope, as we are monitoring those numbers, probably by the 6 or 7 weeks, we should have good metrics to be able to take to our board and say, hey, based on this metric that we are seeing, we are recommending to be back in the building, or we are recommending to stay online. So we're not going to wait till the last minute. I think by the 7th week, we should be able to have a final decision.
I'm got to go back when you talk about the people that the students will log in first, in the morning, and they have instruction. Is it possible that a student can log in but not actually stay online? Will you be able to know?
That's a good question.
Classroom,
That's a good question. I think when they log in, if it's going to be, let's say, via Zoom, that a teacher have to lecture and all that kind of stuff, yes, they should be able to track that. But when it's going to come to synchronize, where students can work independently, some students can log in and then nothing work. So that's where we really need support from our parents as well. For this program or this virtual experience to work, it's going to take a collaboration from school system as well as our parents. They gotta be involved, and they gotta check on their kids whether or not they're completing their assignments. So it's going to be really a partnership between schools.
It's going to really take the entire village.
It's going to take the village.
That's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of that village, I know that you have a lot of volunteers. will volunteers still be able to work within the schools, or, virtually? Can they still sign up to be tutors or whatever?
Definitely, we're still gonna need those volunteers. Like I said, they're gonna be a setting where teachers doing some kind of a remediation or tutoring with 5 students. And that particular teacher may need a tutor, a volunteer to be able to support as well. We're gonna need all hands on deck.
And all that information is still available on the website?
Yes, anyone that's wanna volunteer to DPS, you go to our website. It's very simple process. Within 24 hours, you'll find out whether or not you'll qualify. So majority of folks, they'll go through without any problem.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for visiting. Before we go, I just want to make sure that we covered everything that you think parents need to know to get back in school.
Pretty much, I'm going to ask our parents, this experience is going to be new to all of us. I'm going to ask for their patience and their collaboration and their flexibility as well. As we know that there are going to be some parents that are going to struggle with daycare, things of that nature. So we are all in this together, and we're trying to find solutions that is going to be appropriate, that's going to help all of us. So it's going to take the whole village to make it happen.
Thank you. Well said. And I totally agree. It definitely will take the village. Thank you for visiting with us today.
Thank you, Ms. Coley, for having me.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
I have been visiting with Dr. Pascal Mubenga, who is the superintendent of Durham Public Schools, and he has walked us through what we need to do to get our children back in schools and what we need to do to get the schools reopened. And there is a need for volunteers. So if you can help at all, please go to the Durham Public Schools website and get all that information. This is PC Politics. I'm your host, Phyllis Coley, and until next time, see ya!
Spectacular Magazine. We on the scene.